Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Daniela,
and this is Serious Sundays.
where we talk about very serious topics not so seriously.
And today's podcast is brought to you by Stop Me Before I Do Something Stupid, an app that stops you before you do something stupid. Have you ever had the urge to text your ex at 3 in the morning? This app will stop you before you do something stupid.
It's also brought to you by MemeAway, an automated email service that sends random memes to people who are trying to bother you while you're on vacation. So
Super
leave
clutch.
you alone.
Super clutch. So today we're talking about the 2019 Democratic debate. Very loaded. A lot
Very
to do
loaded.
here. A lot to uncover. What were your overall thoughts on the debate?
So I thought there was a lot of different personalities for sure.
Mhm.
There was a lot of people.
12 candidates.
Yeah, I don't know if that's normal, but it felt like a lot. It was really overwhelming. I'm not good with names,
Mm-hmm.
so I referred to them by what they were wearing. I walked away with 4 people in mind. One
Okay.
of them should not be happy that I have them in my mind, but yes.
And who was that?
Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Okay,
See, I
we
don't
agree.
know her
We
name.
mutually agree. So
Kamala
who-
Harris, man, she's
Something else.
everywhere, man.
Yeah,
She's
something else.
everywhere.
So who would you say was your standout in terms of healthcare?
So healthcare, they addressed the question to Biden,
Mhm.
Warren, and Sanders for sure, and I think they're my main ones throughout the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I
agree.
think obviously Sanders and Warren have a lot of similar ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that kind of deferred me from them was Joe Biden continuously asking them where they were going to get the money to pay for their plans for
Okay.
healthcare,
Yeah.
which was really interesting.
It's
And
always
they
something.
didn't answer it.
It's
Yeah,
always something you have to
They didn't answer the
account
question.
for, right?
Yeah, so that was the only thing that kind of, if the whole debate was based on that point,
Mm-hmm.
I would probably go for Biden, but he raised a really good question there.
Right. And that's always something important because that directly affects us as the voters and
Mhm.
us as the
Mhm.
people, you know what I mean? So those are good questions to have answers to, especially when it comes to
Exactly.
healthcare. That will
Exactly, because they just kept saying, don't
Universally
worry,
affect.
you're going to have lower premiums
Mhm.
and everybody's going to have the same insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But he was the only one that was like, I'm going to take the money from like the pharmaceutical companies and I'm going to tax them or whatever. So that was the only thing that made me feel safe. And I feel like this election, we're kind of just looking for like genuine people
Right.
that we could trust
Right.
and for us to feel safe because it's a mess right now.
Right. Especially with the president we currently have, that the country feels more divided than ever, really.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And you really want someone that's going to bring that unition back to the country. So,
For sure.
but interestingly enough, during that whole sequence of healthcare, Julian Castro, who used to work with Biden under the Obama administration, had a really weird thing, almost bullying type comment towards Biden's age. So what'd you think about his professionalism on a national stage like this?
So I'm not going to lie, I thought it was funny at first.
Okay.
Because I'm always looking for like a burn
Uh-huh.
in these type of things. Because they're usually very like, I don't know how to say it, like, I guess educated about it, right? But he straight up was like, hey, you're old. Like, you
Right.
forgot what you just
Right.
said.
And for those of you at home, we're talking about the moment where Castro kind of calls out Biden for his age,
For forgetting what he just said.
contradicting what he's saying. Yeah, or
He could have
something
said
like
that. He
right.
wasn't like, oh, you just contradicted. You
Right.
just said it. But the fact that he said you forgot
He
already.
kept digging, you know. What
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
was like, oh.
Driving the knife.
Like,
deeper
at first
and
it was
deeper,
funny,
yeah.
but like, since he used his 45 seconds to keep going on that, I was just
Right.
like,
It's
I don't know.
it's
man.
tough to watch, especially when he prefaces it by saying that he also worked with Biden under that.
Right,
So
it's like he knows him. That's
so
just
there's no
disrespectful.
loyalty and
At all.
obviously, you know what I mean. Like,
And it's the
kind of
same
a hard
thing that
watch.
Harris did. Every
Right.
time she opened her mouth, it was about Trump.
Trump. I got to do this, but let's get back to the real topic. And
I was
Trump.
gonna do this, but Trump is doing the worst thing ever. We all know,
Obviously,
man.
Obviously, I completely agree.
Lady,
It's
we
like,
know he's the worst. We all want to get him out.
We're
What
trying
are
to
you
hear
gonna do
you
about it?
exactly. What are you gonna do to dethrone
She probably
him?
doesn't even know what she's gonna do about it.
I know, because that was one of her really. She was driving home that point of, oh yeah, Trump's bad, Trump's bad, Trump's bad. Look, I'm gonna kind of like rallying the Trump haters to go through her channel of voting and being like, I'm gonna,
Right,
you
like
know what I
her
mean?
her thing like was basically, I hate Trump the most, vote for me because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
that's,
agree.
I'm not gonna vote for her at all
Exactly.
because of that. Because
Exactly.
it's like, I feel like you're just trying to base your whole campaign on that, but you don't have any actual concise plans for
Right.
anything.
Right.
Because after that, they didn't really talk to her too much. I
No,
didn't hear that
not
much
at
from
all.
her after that.
No.
Because the moderators are probably like, nah,
Yeah.
I know what you're gonna say.
And speaking of the moderators, one of the moderators, I forget her name, called out Kamala Harris for her previous. She's a prosecutor, and she switched up on how she used to be against weed being legal, and now she's pro weed being legal. Used to be against prison reform, and now is pro prison reform. And the
That's what I
moderator
mean,
pretty much
she's
called her
everywhere.
out. Yeah, she pretty much called her out and saying, "Are you doing this for the benefit of yourself versus the benefit of the people?" And she kind of laughed it off, kind of like how you guys caught me, but still swung that politics smile. You know what I mean? To get
That
things
the
back.
like the politic
Yeah,
she was like,
yeah. Anyways,
right.
Trump, man.
This is what
you
I
know
mean.
what I mean?
Exactly. She
Yeah,
was like, Trump doesn't want it,
yeah,
so I
exactly.
want it.
But
Like,
I
that's
thought
what
it
I
was
mean. Like,
yeah,
she didn't have anything. Her
exactly.
whole thing was just going back to how she wants to get him out of office.
Right.
But it's like, we all want to.
Right.
And I feel like each of them kind of did the same thing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the other candidates, except the other lady, the one, the teal blazer,
Mm-hmm.
she kind of almost did the same thing for a while. But everybody kind of took their shot at Trump, obviously, because again, we're all on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
But she was just the one that was like back and
I
back
know,
and back
man.
and back and back
I
on it, and
know.
it was like,
Everything. Literally, she would talk about something and then out of nowhere be like, "But Trump," and it's kind of like, dude, are you gonna talk about what you want to do, or are you gonna just
exactly,
keep
like, I know you hate him, so do
referencing
I.
a majority of the country does?
What
You know
can
what I
you
mean?
do for
Exactly.
me besides
I
also
completely
hate
agree.
him?
So another big topic here was gun control, and that kind of went back to one of my favorite candidates so far, Beto O'Rourke,
Mm-hmm.
and how he talked about he's gonna get rid of NRA. You know, he's gonna fight him. He's gonna get rid of the AR-15s and the AK-47s. What was your opinion on that? Because I know Joe Biden had like a certain time for that too.
Right. So I don't know too much legally about how like the gun laws work.
Uh-huh.
I do know though that what I've heard from or what I've read, it's way too easy
Right.
to get your hands on a gun
Mm-hmm.
of that caliber. Nonetheless,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a normal like 9mm handgun, whatever.
Right.
Sure, but the fact that
But
like,
these are
you know,
weapons
all
of
those
war we're
shootings
talking about. Yeah.
are like massive weapons. Like
Yeah.
how?
Yeah.
You know, or like that Vegas shooting. That guy was loading guns into his
Right.
hotel room for like 2 days.
Right.
So it's too easy. And like, I don't remember exactly what he was saying, but since he's from Texas,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, that thing just recently happened,
With
so he's
Odessa,
obviously
yeah.
the most passionate
It hit
about
home, and he was
Yeah.
completely raw and emotional when
He
talking
definitely
about
was
that.
like, you could tell
Yeah.
that was the one thing that he
Versus
was like,
Biden's kind of like, fake politics smile about how he helped pass a bill in '93
in 93.
that pretty much was the first win. He was really bragging about beating NRA, pretty much about how that bill was passed to say like they required background checks and waiting period before buying a weapon. So there's like an interesting dynamic there where Biden's over here kind of bragging versus Beto O'Rourke, who kind of lived it, who talked to the victims, who, you know what I mean? And that goes back to what I'm saying about Biden. It's just he kind of looks like a shell of somebody who's has a different agenda behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like that kid who like peaked in high school
Right.
and he's in college and he's kind of making
Right.
friends, but he's going
living
back
in the glory days
to the high school thing all the time.
Right.
That's what I
completely.
mean.
Yeah, completely.
That the gun control thing though, I feel like they didn't spend as much time on it as they should have.
Mm-hmm.
But what he said, I think maybe they just got enough from what he said, because he was definitely like, you could tell like he was
Yeah.
emotional about it for sure.
Yeah, completely. And another big topic here was immigration, which before we start that, I want to say that Jorge Ramos was absolutely amazing during this section of
He's
it.
just the best at everything.
Yeah, I completely agree. He had no mercy, straight up going for answers
He
for
never
the
does,
people.
and I love him because he's just so unapologetic about like wanting to know what he wants to know.
Right.
You know, but he's also professional because he's not like Castro that he'll take like shots at people. He's more like he'll be straight up like, you're not answering my question.
Right.
The people want to know this. I'm asking you this.
Right.
What's going on?
Right.
He's not like, hey man, like you're being an asshole for this, or like,
Yes.
oh, you forgot what you said, or you
Yeah.
forgot what you did.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I like about him, that he's a savage, but he's a professional.
Right. And he went at Biden straight up because
Straight up.
the Obama administration, what was brought up was that during the Obama administration, they did help immigrants with DACA and other things, but they also deported 10 million
It
plus.
like peaked
Right.
in the recent
So
from the
Jorge Ramos came
previous
straight
years.
at his neck and said, "Why?" You know what I mean? And there goes
I thought
again.
it was interesting the way he phrased it though. He said, "Are you prepared to admit that you were wrong?"
Yes, exactly.
And you could tell Biden
And
was
Biden just did not.
Biden
know.
was that episode of SpongeBob when like all his inner workings of his brain
They're
are like
burning
freaking
everything.
out, and they're like
Yes.
setting shit on
Yes,
fire.
completely.
That was him.
100%.
He was just like smiling.
He just
'cause
did not know.
He was like, "They were gonna ask me this." Like, I didn't know.
Right.
Like he was probably like flipping through his notes.
Right,
And, stuff,
and he
like,
just didn't have.
and he's definitely, you know, if they have another, if he moves forward and there's another debate, and Jorge Ramos is there, he's gonna ask the same question.
Right.
Be like, the past debate, I asked you this, you didn't answer me.
Mm-hmm.
Are you prepared to say that you guys made a mistake?
Right.
And I feel like if somehow he interviewed Obama again, he would probably ask him the same
Mhm.
question, you know? But I think that was definitely a curveball that they threw at him.
And he just didn't
he
expect it.
did not
and
expect it. And he didn't answer it.
Yeah,
'Cause, I
exactly.
mean,
Because they cut him off and just moved on. So
he cut him off after he had
Yeah,
been like going around
running
it for
around,
a while.
yeah,
And he
beating
was just
around
like,
the bush
all right,
completely.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
embarrass you anymore.
So finally, who do you think you would vote for after watching that? Like, if the polls opened up right after that debate, who would have your vote?
I think definitely Elizabeth Warren, because she was just the one. She was the only one though that wasn't like talking smack about
Mm-hmm.
not just the other
Mhm.
candidates, but like Donald Trump or anything. She kind of focused on herself
Mm-hmm.
and on her plans and on her goals and everything. So even though like, you know, the healthcare thing kind of threw me
Right,
off,
right,
that was the only thing. But like she was the one that just seemed so sure of herself
right.
and was like, and it's her first time running. Like she didn't run last year, did she?
I'm not sure.
I don't
Mm.
think she did. I feel like I would have remembered her. But if she did, oh well. But I feel like she just like she showed up and she was like, I know what I'm gonna talk about.
Mhm.
Like this is what it is and this is how I'm gonna do it. Like she did her homework and everything. And she was again, she was the only one that kinda didn't make me think like, okay,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Like everybody, even sometimes like Bernie Sanders, like even though I really like him and like respect him, he has that thing where he like interrupts people and like he just wants to talk all the time.
Mhm.
And she was the only one that was like waiting for her turn. When they asked her a question,
She was
answered
ready.
it directly.
Yeah.
She was ready.
concise, Yeah.
She gave us actual answers, you
Mhm.
know, to like the questions directly. Like she wasn't just like, yeah, you know, I'm just here because whatever.
Mm-hmm. I agree. No,
So
completely.
for sure her.
Me too. I'd say I'd have to agree because every time she spoke, I was impressed by the way like her preparation, her willingness to answer these questions. She didn't shun away from anything. You know what I mean? She was just ready on a dot, and I think that's something I can respect as a president, especially for someone running for presidency,
Mm-hmm.
where I feel like you're leading the people, so you have to have these type of answers at all times and you be ready.
Definitely.
Obviously, there's some preparation time, but I feel like even the other candidates, some of them other ones had preparation time, and they still look kind of jaded up there. You know what I mean? So, I really respected the way she handled herself. I really dug the way she was
just a
doing.
lady.
Yeah, she was just awesome the way she was doing. So yeah, I think if the polls open today, she would have my vote,
For
Elizabeth
sure.
Warren.
And again, like I said, her and Bernie have such similar ideas anyway.
Right, it could be a
So
toss up.
if-
Yeah,
Yeah, like
between the two.
I'm definitely leaning towards more
Mhm.
towards her, but I mean, there's still time, you know. She could say
Yeah,
something
completely
stupid at some
agree.
point, and I'll
Yeah,
be like,
you
girl,
never know,
ruined it,
man.
you know?
Yeah,
Also,
exactly.
red blazer was a bold choice
Right,
for her.
she's
and
standing out.
she's
Fiery,
standing out,
fiery.
because the other lady was wearing a blue and the other lady was wearing a teal,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna wear a red blazer,
Right,
you know, and that's what I want to see.
feisty, like
She
her
was
attitude.
feisty, exactly.
Yep, exactly. She came out. She came out guns blazing.
She did.
Yeah, completely.
But I think it was a good start for sure. I'm relatively confident about where it's gonna go,
Mhm.
and kind of excited to see where it goes.
And so am I.
Yeah,
So-
because we need to do something about everything.
Exactly. And I'm sure something will be done. So
Yeah.
hopefully we put our faith in the right people and we move forward as a country.
Hopefully the right people.
Hopefully. So that was Serious Sunday's topic. The
We did get a little
Democratic-
more serious this time
Yeah,
than
we
we
did.
usually do, but It's a pressing issue, man.
Yeah, man.
They're pressing issues.
It's heavy stuff. Heavy stuff.
All
My
right,
back's
well, you
hurting.
guys have a nice week.
You have a
and we'll
nice
see you next Sunday.